For real.
What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, aka Darth Apocalypse. All right, so let's get to this. So, coming into this 2026 or going into this 2026-27 season, you know, one of the things I've noticed is that when there's speculation about the top teams in the Eastern Conference this year, right? You hear, pretty much just going to be New York, maybe Philly if things work out. We got to keep an eye on Detroit. Then there's always going to be this shocker team that always overperforms each year, right? And to that I say, nope, we're not doing that. I'm not giving this dude right here no passes. Nope, he don't get to do that. Not after y'all trade Jaylen Brown and make excuses as to why he should be traded, saying you have people out here lying and saying that, imaginary statisticians or analysts that they know are saying that he's the seventh best player on the average NBA roster, or the analytics prove that he's an overrated player to the point where you make it like he's a detriment to a team as far as being in the starting lineup almost. Despite the fact that he had become a perennial all-star and a finals MVP, but they made a concerted effort, the media, to downplay his dominance and his effectiveness to justify trading him. Right? You even had that Jerry Lewis wannabe Brad Stevens, the professor himself, come out and say that the reason they traded him was for financial reasons, which makes no sense whatsoever, because you didn't trade him for like two guys. You traded him essentially straight up for Paul George. So you got the same issue. You're still paying two guys approximately the same amount of money. So that's not it. It seems to me that Jayson Tatum got a little bit jealous or envious of Jaylen Brown for some reason. Part of it, they may not love each other, but basketball is a business. As long as you can tolerate, your coworker, you can get along with them, things are cool. You gotta be best friends, best chums, buddies. I think what happened was Jayson Tatum thought that with him being sidelined, the Boston Celtics, like most people in the media, they were going to be at best the playing team last year. And that wasn't the case. It didn't happen. Everybody stepped up. Everybody. Jaylen Brown especially. To the point where they won 56 games. And Joe Mazzulla won head coach of the year. But the media refused to really give Jaylen Brown his praise. And I knew if the shoe was on the other foot and it was Jaylen Brown that got hurt, Jayson Tatum would have been an MVP candidate. He would have been top 2, 3. I know in my heart he would have been. You know, another thing too is Jayson Tatum has a long history of underperforming in critical games for the Celtics. Like he gets passes after pass after pass after pass. In the 2022 NBA Finals, he got shut down in that final series by Andrew Wiggins. Only shot 37% from the field in that series. Then the next season, when they were eliminated, I think it was in the conference finals by the Miami Heat, although Miami almost blew a 3-0 lead in that series. Even though Tatum only scored 14 points in 42 minutes of play, everybody blamed the loss on Jaylen Brown because he had 8 turnovers in that game. And he should have received a lot of criticism, absolutely. Hell, I would say maybe even the majority of criticism. But he got all the smoke. Everybody blamed Tatum's ankle. Oh, his ankle is sore, so you can't blame him. His ankle is sore. But we admonished Kevin Durant for not playing just this past year with an ankle injury. See how that works? It's about who we like and who we don't like. In 2024, when the Celtics won it all, I think Tatum had a problem with Jaylen Brown winning Finals MVP. Now, their numbers were pretty similar. I mean, Tatum's numbers, raw numbers, were a little bit better on a per game average, but the reason why they gave it to Jaylen Brown is because Jaylen Brown's points were a little bit more impactful. He hit some clutch shots in that series. He helped to shut down Luka Doncic, excuse me. And he was more efficient. He took less shots to get his points. So, you know, you got this great player who the media has been adamant in trying to make sure that he knows his place as the sidekick. They've been trying to make Jaylen Brown the sidekick of the Celtics forever. The same way that they created the pecking order for Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But the difference between Steph Curry and Jayson Tatum is Steph Curry ascended his game and consistently played at a superstar level to the point where Klay had to accept that because Klay's level of play never really rose past where he was in 2015-16. And for the betterment of the team that Steph had the offense run through him. And it also helped that he played with guys who were more committed to winning than going out there trying to get their points. Tatum seems to me to be more concerned, and I hate to say this, I think he's going to get exposed this year for being a guy that's more interested in getting his numbers. Hell, I would even argue that maybe he's doing what to Jaylen Brown to what people perceive Kobe did to Shaq. But there's a difference between Kobe Bryant and Tatum. Kobe wanted to showcase what he could do, obviously, yeah. But he wanted to prove that he did not need Shaq to win, which was a growing media sentiment. at that time, right? Tatum wants to prove that he can be the best player in the league, or he can put up phenomenal numbers, or Boston. So, yes, if Boston does not finish with 50 wins, and if Tatum stays healthy, if they don't win anything close to what they won last year, because remember, they didn't have Tatum for most of the year. They lost Mike Muscala. They lost Drew Holiday. They lost Kristaps Porzingis. And they lost Al Horford. So they lost a lot of players. And they still was the second seed in the East. So now, if Boston plays like shit, I'm going to call them out. If I see it's largely due to Tatum not leading that ship, I'm blaming him. He ain't getting no passes. He might get a light skinned pass from from the media, and yeah, I said it. He might get a light skinned pass from me, but he's not getting it from me. That's all I got to say about it.